Cleo from 5 to 7 is somehow the first French film, the first French New Wave film that we've ever covered on the podcast. Don't know how we did that one. I have one video about it on the channel already. Give that a watch after this episode. It is directed by Agnes Varda, who is somehow, again, the first female director we've ever covered on the podcast. Don't know how we've done it. Huge miss out on our half, and we're both going to hold our hands up and say sorry about that. But yeah, it is also the 1 year anniversary of the Golden Hour Film Podcast. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Golden Hour Film Podcast. Yes, just got to get that disclaimer out of the way. We did it as well last week that somehow this is the first female-directed film we've ever covered on the podcast. Huge miss site. It's in the past. We're doing it now, and we're going to do plenty more going forward. I'm sure. When I say we, I'm obviously referring to myself and my co-host, not guest host, Shane Mulvaney. Shane, happy birthday to the podcast.
Yeah, happy birthday. Thanks to everyone for getting us to where we are today. And yeah, it's a little bit of a celebration, obviously. So hopefully many more to come, many more anniversaries to come.
Yeah, big time. Because, yeah, it's been a year. And it is safe to say that it's been a very fun year. Yeah. Absolutely flew by. And we can now roam the streets and tell people that we have a podcast. Because that's what the world needs more of, is two straight white males having a podcast.
Yeah.
That was a joke. Speaking of podcasts, don't know what that segue was. Cleo from 5 to 7, Shane. It is a great film, one of my favourite films of the 60s from the French New Wave. It's directed by an icon of French cinema in Agnes Varda. She has a career that has spanned decades upon decades, and it is your first soiree, I believe, into the filmography of Agnes Varda. What you make of Cleo from 5 to 7 in a spoiler-free review?
Absolutely loved it. Yeah. First frame to the last frame, it's just so well observed, so well written, so well directed. I mean, the direction is off the charts in this thing. It's like she's completely in control of the kind of story she wants to tell and how to tell it. There's one scene in particular which we'll get to, featuring a piano, which is like unbelievably powerful and poignant. The ending is really, really powerful and poignant. Such a touchstone for the kinds of independent cinema that I really kind of love from the 90s onwards. Like, I mean, I reference this film a lot on the podcasting, but Before Sunset, if this isn't a major touchstone on Before Sunset, then I don't know what is. I mean, I reckon Linklater has absolutely seen this a bunch before he made that film. So yeah, fair play to Agnes Varda. She's clearly so influential. She's a filmmaker that I really wanted to get into for a long time. And yeah, again, this podcast, I always say, great excuse for me to catch the stuff that I haven't seen before. Just an excuse for me to stop putting on the long finger, just get on with it. And this is why I like doing the podcast for films like this, because it's absolutely amazing. What about you?
Yeah, I'm obsessed with this film. Cleo is one of my favorite characters of the 60s. Yep. This film reminds me a lot of Frances Ha, the Greta Gerwig film from about 10 years ago, which is also incredible. I do prefer this film because just the depiction of like anxiety, social loneliness, despite, and it's so masterfully directed, but like, let's call a spade a spade. Cleo is an absolutely gorgeous woman who stands out amongst all the crowds, and it is purposefully directed that way. And yet, any sort of conversation she seems to have, it is like self-deprecating, self-doubting, just riddled with anxiety, total overthinker, and the whole like the almost voyeuristic shots, which I'll get into more so, of her roaming the streets and people staring at her. It's a real interesting juxtaposition of like the character versus how the world views her. And I just love this film so much. I love the French New Wave personally, not to be a big snob, but I have a video of 12 classic French films everyone should see, which did quite well, and this is strongly on that 12. Yes, this was very much included in my list. I absolutely adore this film, and yeah, it also features in the film is a cool, very French new wave of the film. The film actually features a short film directed by Agnes Varda. We just watch it. It's cool. Like, she goes and watches the short film, and then the short film just plays throughout the film.
She just flexes around her own previous work, which absolutely fair play to her.
Which in that short film boasts Jean-Luc Godard, Eddie Constantine, Anna Karenina, like some of the biggest stars, directors, producers of the French New Wave are all in this short film. That's just played in the film. It's great, but if you're not sure about the French New Wave, where to start, or maybe you've seen a couple and you weren't into it, I would wholeheartedly recommend this film. Totally I think the two that got me into the French New Wave were this and Breathless. The two of them were the two that literally just hooked me, and then I spent about 3 weeks of just like solely watching French movies, and it was a great few weeks, I won't lie. Loved it. Without further ado, because new format and that, and do let us know in the comments what you make of the new format, and we'll get back to you. Shane, why don't you set the scene? What is Cleo from 5 to 7 about?
So Cleo from 5 to 7 is, well, it's shot in real time, is the first thing we should say, and the timing. So at the start of every scene, or the start of every kind of new location that Cleo comes into, we can actually see Agnes Varda actually tells us how long the scene will last, because she literally has, it could say 1749 to 1757, for example, or do you know what I mean? So she's almost telling you, right, the scene is going to last eight minutes, or so on and so forth. It's really, really cool narrative device that she employs here. But it's about a woman called Cleo. She's a professional singer, and seems to be pretty well famous at this point. Like, she definitely is someone that can be recognized in the street now. She is ogled, as Harry said, she's a very beautiful woman, so she is like ogled relentlessly throughout the film by obviously mainly men, let's be honest. There's that going for her as well. But she is also, like, there are women that will look at her because they obviously recognize who she is, and they recognize, oh shit, I think I know that woman from somewhere. Maybe they actually know for sure who she is. So she's a woman in the public eye, is what we should say, and yeah, she's a beautiful woman. So, but she is at a hospital because she's, well, firstly we should say that she's getting a tarot card reading. This tarot card reading doesn't really go her way. It's kind of insinuated that she's not gonna get some good news fairly soon. And when she leaves, she's like, actually, I'm expecting a call from the hospital because I might have cancer. I might have. She's expecting biopsy results. She might have cancer. So that's not the news she wanted to hear. She's almost kind of gotten the results before the results, or so she thinks. So she's in a bit of a haze. Things haven't gone her way, obviously, and then as she leaves, she starts to get leered at. Not for the first time. Definitely not for the first time. Gets leered at by a bunch of men, but she's very daisy. She's very hazy. Whatever way you want to say it. She hasn't gotten some good news from this tarot card reading. So she kind of laughs it off. She gets into a cab with her friends, and she kind of laughs it off. Obviously, this is probably something that happens to her on a fairly regular basis, if that's kind of her reaction to it. So, but she's trying to put on a brave face, but she's very much preoccupied by the fact that she believes she probably has cancer as a result of this tarot card reading. And that's kind of the dilemma that she deals with throughout the film. So it's basically 2 hours in the life of Cleo. It's actually a 90-minute film, but anyway, 2 hours in the life of Cleo in the lead up to these results that she's going to be getting pretty soon.
Yeah, so the tarot card woman, when she left, said to a fella who was listening in, I saw terminal cancer in her cards, but I didn't tell her.
Yeah.
Which is, again, it's a real interesting bit of direction there from Varda, where it's like, it's not necessarily true or anything, but if you believe in tarot cards, then you're going to think one thing about the film, like where it's going to go, and if you don't believe it, you're probably going to think a different thing about the film.
Definitely.
So it's kind of playing with your beliefs straight away. And when she leaves, it's one of the many great shots and one of the many great techniques that Varda uses to really like immerse you in 60s France. All these overhead shots of her walking through the crowds, of people just staring at her. But whilst we're watching people staring at her, you also can't help but like get a glimpse at like the old school shops and the old brands and the old fashion and the old cars that are going by. And then as well in that taxi ride, we essentially just sit there in the back of the taxi and listen to the radio playing.
Yeah.
Where we find out about like it's set during like the Algerian War and what's popular at the time and what's happening in France at the time. And it just really immerses you into the play. It's so good at just putting you in 60s France. If you want to go on a trip to 60s France, watch Cleo from 5 to 7 because Varda puts you there straight away. And as well, you want to talk about how things are shot. How Cleo's bedroom is shot is so... As soon as she gets in there, Varda, like, I can almost imagine her, like, just putting on, like, driving gloves and being like, right, let's get into this. Because she just gets to work here. The shots are amazing. First, we get a deep focus shot where she's in her room and it's just so illuminated. Like, everything almost looks like it's the same distance from the camera because it's such a wide open bedroom. And the maid of hers, who's a character in this, who just basically constantly tells Cleo that she's being dramatic, yet the maid is the one who's fueling all of these superstitions because, oh, you can't wear your new hat, it's a Tuesday. Oh, you can't get in the first taxi you see, it's bad luck. Like, all these sort of things. She's playing with Cleo's mind, not necessarily purposefully, but that being said, her then like discounting of all of Cleo's opinions lead to what you referenced earlier, the piano scene, where basically everything just kind of boils up. It's worth noting as well, in her bedroom, her partner-ish comes in, gives her a kiss. She tries to tell him that she's sick, and the maid again is like, oh, you shouldn't tell him that you're sick because men don't find that attractive. And then he has to leave for a meeting, and we find out that this guy is just not on the scene at all. He spends his whole life in meetings, shall we say. Not with her. By the way, Cleo is played by Corrine Marchand in a incredible performance.
Amazing, yeah. This is like the Golden Hour Film Podcast's leading actress 2025 awards have just gotten a new, I think, front runner. Let's put it that way.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And what I love about that,
and director,
yeah, right. Yeah. I think what's interesting about this scene as well, this scene with the love interest that you just mentioned, is it's the first time you hear non-diegetic sounds. So it's the first time we actually hear sounds that the characters can't hear. In other words, because obviously we could hear music coming elsewhere. We could also hear the car radio. This is the first time in the film, and it's about half an hour in at this point, that we hear something that the characters can't actually hear. So that's a really interesting choice as well. I'm not going to pretend I know exactly what the intention was there, but it's like it's pretty interesting that she's refrained from using any kind of score up until now, Agnes Varda. We get the piano scene because two guys come in.
Just before the piano scene, that shot of her on the swing with the wings, like the angel amazing. Wings behind her, because she's in a white dress, is so fucking good. It's such a great shot.
Yeah, and the way like where the camera is positioned in that shot as well, it's so great.
Yeah.
But yeah, then there's two guys come in. So one's a piano player, another is like, I don't know if he's a vocal coach or maybe just like a hanger on. I don't know.
He's a songwriter.
Okay, right. So yeah, there you go. Shows how much I know. But yeah, they come in and obviously Cleo has like a kind of a practice session booked. So they start to play and they're kind of going back and forth. But yeah, this is probably my favourite scene of the film, if I'm honest.
It's so well shot.
It's unbelievable. It's so well shot. The room is just completely in black, so it's like she's spotlighted in this room, even though it's not an actual stage, obviously. And the lyrics of the song like match her own life, what she's actually going through. She breaks down at the end. Then she's talking.
The song is called Sans Toi.
Sans Toi.
And yeah, everyone, like, if you haven't seen this film, just listen to that. Close your eyes and just like drift away. And then when you come back, watch Cleo from 5 to 7.
Yeah. And then she does rant about how people either treat her like an idiot or like a China doll. So it's something that they either shouldn't take seriously or something that they should protect. Like she doesn't have feelings and opinions and stuff of her own. So like it's really, really powerful. She's completely correct with that, by the way. Like she's babied by everyone around her, even though she's actually not asking to be. She's not taken seriously because of probably either a combination of her looks or the fact that she's just a woman in general. So it's like it's complete like the things that the film is dealing with is so interesting how she's actually dealing with this stuff. Agnes Varda, she leaves, and you're looking, I guess she starts to get ogled by more men. But yeah, the next scene that I wanted to bring up was the art gallery scene. So she goes to this art gallery where a friend of hers is basically, she's a nude model, so she's has taken a job where a bunch of men are sculpting kind of her posing as a nude model, if that makes sense. So she get money for that.
Yeah, she's their muse.
She's their muse, exactly. So Cleo kind of, when they walk out, Cleo's annoyed at her. She's like, I don't know why you're taking money for that. And she's like, listen, it's money. I'm kind of proud of my body. I'm proud of the fact I'm a woman.
Yeah.
I'm gonna own it. Like, I'm gonna get paid for it. If they're gonna fucking ogle me, I might as well get paid for it. Why not? Like, that's fair play. Like, it makes sense. So they go on a car scene. There's another scene. Then there's a bunch of scenes set in a car. That's just like the way where the camera's positioned in the back. You can nearly just, it's like a POV shot. You're a passenger in this car, and you can see everything the characters can see. And it's
similar to the taxi ride, yeah.
Yeah, so it's really interesting. You can just see Paris as it was in the 60s. So that's one thing to know.
So cool.
Yeah, and then also they're just kind of casually having a chat. Bunch of guys come up and pull up, and they again start to like wolf whistle and stuff. So it's obviously, this is again, like I said, a regular occurrence for Cleo. She kind of brushes it off. It's happened so often to her, but yeah, it's again, that's very much another layer to the film, which is that like she is not, by so many people, she's just positioned as like an object and not a real person. Really, really interesting.
Yeah, how the film as well like deals with her anxiety is really interesting.
Yeah.
Because like when she leaves the piano room, just the amount of noise going on, like people are staring at her and she's just walking past them, and then there's crowds gathering around her who are all making noise, whether it be the guy who's like sticking a pin through his arm or the guy who's eating frogs and vomiting them back up on the street, as you do. Like all this is going on, all this crazy stuff is going on, and yet she's just so in her own head, like so transfixed that she's seeing it happen, and she references it later, like, oh, I saw a guy put a thing through his arm, but you can see in the scene that she's like not there mentally, if you get me. She's watching what's happening, but she's got so much going through her mind, because yeah, in her head she keeps telling everyone like, oh, there's and she even says this to her friend as well, who just kind of fobs it off. She's like, oh, I could be getting really bad news today. She's like, yeah, but you also might not be getting really bad news today. Like, it could go the other way. It could be a positive. Like, why are you being so negative? And it's just really interesting how the film, she's just portrayed in a real sympathetic light, and I wholeheartedly sympathize with the character of Cleo. And I just, incredible character, incredible performance from Corrine Marchand. And yeah, whenever she does meet this friend, they then go to the cinema, because the friend has to run an errand where she picks up a film and gives it to a friend, and then we watch that short film. Oh, it's called The Fiancés of MacDonald Bridge, which is a 5-minute short film which we just watch in full. Basically about a guy who says goodbye to his lover, and then he puts sunglasses on and turns around the wrong direction and sees someone who looks just like her in a black dress, bump into a guy in a black suit, and she dies, and then she gets put in the back of her hearse, and then he takes the sunglasses off and he's like, oh my god, and then realizes, oh hang on, that was just the sunglasses. And then he turns around and sees her in her white dress, and she like nearly falls over, and then a guy comes with flowers. Like it's a mad setup thing. Yeah. Basically, it's just like a visual comedy thing for 5 minutes, where Agnes Varda basically plays with the idea of sunglasses.
Yeah, totally.
And there's just loads of famous people in it.
So yeah, then she goes to the park, and again she's continuing to mull over these impending biopsy results. And then a guy called Antoine comes up to her. He tries to talk to her, but at this point she's just had enough. She's already on edge. She's already anxious about these results. And then a couple of off, she's had a day of just men leering at her, objectifying her, wolf whistling, all this kind of stuff. She assumes pretty fairly, I would say, that this is just another guy who's trying to do this stuff. So she just tells him to F off, basically. So he kind of apologizes. He's like, oh no, that's not what I was trying to say. Like, they kind of get to talk about each other though. And then they kind of connect. They just start to talk about their vulnerabilities. So he's a soldier. He's going to be going back to Algeria. which has obviously been mentioned in the film. He's going to be going back to Algeria to fight in the war the following day. Obviously, she has the biopsy results, and he's like, well, fuck it, let's just, instead of waiting for the call, why don't we just go to the hospital? Like, they're going to have the results there.
Yeah.
And she's like, fair enough, yeah, okay, but we'll get the bus, prefer the scenery. So, yeah. On the bus, then they have a nice little bus ride, and then they get to the hospital. The doctor's not there.
This whole thing is obviously what's reminding of Before Sunrise.
Yeah, 100%. Have you seen that film?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so amazing film.
Yeah, fantastic film.
But yeah, like this whole thing about just all these different like detours and stuff they go on, like where it's they don't really have a plan, but they're just kind of winging it. They're just kind of trusting each other as it were. But yeah, the doctor's not there. But once they're kind of on the way back, and a car pulls up, it is a doctor. He's like, "Oh, why are you looking for me?" She's like, "Obviously, I want results. Why else would I be looking for you?" And he's like, "Look, 2 months of radiation will help." So yeah, she does have cancer. He's like, 2 months of radiation will help. But at this point, like she's almost worked herself up so much, it doesn't really have any impact on her. And maybe because the fact that she's kind of connected with Antoine as well, it's like, all right, well, look, things could be worse. Like, better to look in the bright side of things than constantly get out, head about things and this kind of stuff. So the whole point is that like her fear is kind of gone. She's found this connection. She found something that kind of will almost just take her mind off of her own kind of insecurities, her own kind of all this stuff that she's been building up in her head, all this anxiety she's been building up. So the film does kind of just end on that note, but again, it's a much more hopeful note that we've seen from pretty much the whole film that from Cleo on this day.
Yeah, because for the whole film, it is the fear of the unknown. Exactly. It's how bad could this be? It could be worst case scenario, especially with the tarot cards and with everybody basically being like, "Oh, shut up, Cleo. Like, you're probably just gonna get good news." Like, the fact that you're saying that you might get terrible news means that you also might not get terrible news. And that whole thing, just dismissing her opinions, dismissing her feelings. And then there's almost a vindication that it's like, yes, you do have cancer. Like, you haven't just been working yourself up for no reason. But also, it's the disappearing of the fearing of the unknown. Because now she knows what the issue is, and now she can deal with it. She can now put a plan in place. She can put, like, structure back into her life. Because, as you said, she's basically just been side questing all day. And basically pondering around the news as to whether or not she might be dead tomorrow. She might be totally fine. She doesn't know. But now that she knows, she has the ability to then just basically get her life back. Because that little pocket in her life, the hours of 5 to 7, where there was the fear of the unknown, was obviously a pretty difficult 2 hours in the life of Cleo. And now that I keep saying fear of the unknown, but now that the fear of the unknown is gone, she can kind of go on with her life, and that's why I think anyway, that's why the film ends now, because it's like, oh well, now she knows, the end. But it's interesting as well because Antoine, who she's only just met, he's the one who's like, oh my god, that's terrible, like, you do have cancer, that's so bad. Where she's vindicated, she's like, oh, well, at least I know, like, I can, let's get this sorted. Because he's an interesting character. He's a nice character. Considering all the men who've been objectifying her all film long, he's interesting because similar to Ashes and Diamonds with Maciek and Christina, the two of them basically just table tennis philosophies back and forth over and over again. As they go for a walk, and it's just a nice walk to watch. Basically, it's just two characters who genuinely are interested in getting to know each other, kind of like Before Sunrise. And yeah, I thought the ending, a lot of French New Wave endings are either last minute twist or fake out or really quick ending. So yeah, I think as far as like, if you aren't prepared for like the stereotypical French New Wave crazy ending where it just like cuts short, I think this is a very accessible French New Wave ending of a film. It's nothing that's going to leave you pissed off or whatever. Although a lot of the ones that do leave you pissed off, it is intentional. But yeah, Cleo from 5 to 7 for me is a masterpiece. 5 stars. Absolutely love it. Corrine Marchand gives one of my favourite performances of the 60s. Cleo is one of my favourite characters of the 60s. She's so relatable. the anxiety she has, just the way that the camera follows her throughout the streets. I'm just obsessed with. It's so well directed. Agnes Varda is incredible. I would love to do more of her films on the podcast, absolutely. And yeah, 1 year on the podcast, and what a film to cement a full year of the Golden Hour Film Podcast. Shane, did you enjoy Cleo from 5 to 7?
Yeah, I absolutely loved Cleo from 5 to 7. Amazing film, amazing performance of Corrine Marchand. Like I said, unbelievable direction from Agnes Vardas. Like she knows every single moment of this film. She really owns it. She knows exactly how to tell this story, where to put the camera, etc., etc. Really, really impressive stuff. I think we can make a vow right here that this might be the first, shamefully, after a full year. But the second year anniversary this time next year, I can promise everyone we will definitely have watched quite a lot more films directed by women, because we're gonna make much more concerted effort. But yeah, this is what a hell of a way to kind of put down a marker. What a film to kind of start off this run off. So yeah, amazing film, Cleo from 5 to 7. French New Wave is kind of a genre or a period of film that I would definitely love to get more into. I haven't seen enough of, although the ones that I have seen I generally do like. This is right up there with my favourites in the kind of movement. So yeah, we have a lot to live up to. If you cover any more of those as well going forward, this is like right up there as I put down a little marker. So amazing film.
Yeah, and next week is the final film of World Tour, which is a little known fella from Sweden who we've covered once before, Ingmar Bergman. Persona, yes, our second Bergman film on the podcast. Have you seen Persona before?
I have not, no.
Interesting, I thought you had. Yeah, fantastic film, psychologically really interesting film, and one that I can't wait to talk about because I haven't seen it in ages, so looking forward. But yeah, in the meantime, Shane, it's been a year on the podcast. What are some of your favourite moments of the podcast so far, whether it be on screen, off screen, whatever?
I like the entire everything about Claude Rains. Claude Rains is just what a guy.
He's so great.
Even in Lawrence of Arabia, like he's just a film like I mentioned recently. Good film, way too long, but like he's so good at every moment in that film. He has a way of stealing scenes. So every film we've covered from Claude Rains, which is quite a few, yeah, I really enjoyed that. The Maltese Falcon episode I had a lot of fun with. I think that's one of our better episodes, to be honest. Especially because I think I saw that film as much more of a comedy than you did. So it's interesting that it doesn't usually happen that way, where it's like you almost think you're looking at a different genre of film. So I think we both really liked the film, but it's like we came at it from a completely different kind of vantage point. What can I say? Just getting into films that I haven't seen before. That I have seen before, and I was well due a revisit, a rewatch. I guess keep going on about this. The whole point I want to do the podcast, and why I enjoy doing the podcast, is to open myself up to new films and new cultures and new directors such as Agnes Varda that I haven't seen before. So yeah, that's
new waves,
you could say, exactly. So that's why I want to watch the podcast. So anything in that kind of realm. What about yourself?
Well, to begin with, I actually thoroughly enjoyed the classic film Euros. That was a bit of fun. Good, yeah. Way back when, cause just making on Photoshop, making the little panini cards of each of the films and stuff, and being active on the Instagram, on the stories, and getting people to vote, and then obviously being able to see what everyone voted, and just being like, oh, I wonder why such and such chose this film. I wonder why such and such, and these all chose Pucci, very funny, but after the classic film Euros, then I loved covering like Psycho and 12 Angry Men, because they're films that I always knew that I loved, but then talking about them for like an hour, you just kind of realize just how much you love the film.
I agree.
Then Universal Monster Month was great crack. I'm gonna find it hard not to do Universal Monster Month this October. That being said, we do still have the Creature from the Black Lagoon left. I don't really see us bothering going straight into any of the sequels or anything just yet, but Creature from the Black Lagoon is certainly and the fact that it's not even like a full, it is a horror film, but it's more B movie, so we could cover it any month really. We'll definitely cover that at some point just to kind of tick off all the Universal monsters, but Universal Monster Month is great crack as well, because I feel like that was kind of the precursor to Noirvember, where basically just audience engagement kind of really came into its own during Universal Monster Month. And then Noirvember was crazy as far as, like, you're looking at them maybe as an audience member, and obviously compared to everyone else you watch, you're probably thinking, you know, the views aren't anything mind-blowing or anything, but just to take it from nothing to where, like, the heights that we got to in Noirvember was incredible. It was amazing. And then, you know, December covering some classic Christmas films that I hadn't seen before was good fun. And then this year, to be honest, my highlight of this year had to be probably how surprised I was at how much I enjoyed Ball of Fire, because I had no prior knowledge of that film and I was well into it. Ball of Fire is a good episode and a good film that I think everyone should see. And yeah, obviously then off screen said it already, but somehow getting accredited to Cannes is probably, and like for context, I'm genuinely not sure if I would have been accredited if it wasn't for the podcast, because it is strongly recommended that in your essay you include actual work that you do to show that you're a film fan. So obviously my submission was the Golden Era Film Podcast. That was my link at the end of my essay. So I genuinely can't say for certain or not, but there is definitely a chance that I would not have gone to Cannes if it wasn't for this podcast. As a matter of fact, I definitely wouldn't have, because I don't even think I would have thought of applying for Cannes if it wasn't for the podcast.
Was there a particular episode that you gave a link to, or just an overview of the channel?
It was the playlist. It was the playlist of the... So whoever saw it would have clicked on the playlist and then would have just picked whatever episode themselves to watch, maybe. But someone at Cannes has seen the podcast.
Put you in episode.
I'd maybe put you in episode. Maybe not. Maybe Mr. and Mrs. Smith. Who knows? Yeah. But the podcast has been fantastic. And we were discussing, we're not going to make it concrete or anything, but I think it will be a cool goal, if not next year, then the year after, if we can build the podcast up to a point where we somehow manage to get ourselves media passes for the Cannes Film Festival, or even the Dublin Film Festival. We don't have to shoot for the stars straight away. Even the Dublin Film Festival, if we got press passes, that'd be pretty cool.
For sure.
Because I've never attended a film festival. Have you?
I've been to like Dublin, some events in Dublin, but no, I haven't.
I've never even. I've always been working Dublin Film Festival. I've never been.
I would love to go like to Toronto, Venice, these kinds of places.
Yes, Toronto, New York,
Sundance. A lot of the are moving Sundance from Utah to. I forget where.
I didn't know.
Yeah, they're moving Sundance from Utah. It's a big uproar about now. Where's it gone? It's going from Utah to Colorado, Boulder, Colorado. That's where they're going to. So it's
right. Okay.
Yeah.
How dare they?
Yeah.
How very dare they? But I haven't even been to the Ashburn Film Festival. Believe it or not, that existed. It was 1 year, and they showed on Colleen Keown, and then a lot of short films.
Fair play. Worst film to show.
I didn't. I was working though, so didn't make it to that one. But who knows? As far as the next year, have you any individual goal or personal goal that you want, whether it be with the podcast or adjacent to the podcast?
Not that springs to mind. I'll be honest with you. Put me on the spot there. I would love to get the podcast to a point where we are just like regularly interacting with people. It was that way for a while. Things have slowed down a little bit, but hopefully on the way back up. But yeah,
I think we need to do more of the top 12 videos.
Yeah.
Even though they're kind of a ball ache to make.
Yeah.
The results of them is like you do reap the rewards of those.
Yeah. So, but we've got some cool ideas for some other content coming up as well. So hopefully they hit the spot for people, and if you do enjoy them, check out some more stuff.
Yeah, and that was Cleo from 5 to 7, the 1 year anniversary episode of the Golden Hour Film Podcast. And next week we are covering Persona by Ingmar Bergman, and then we have a whole other arc coming. Yes, we're basically just going to keep doing month by month arcs instead of like what we did with the Hitchcock 40s arc where it spanned fucking 10 years.
Yeah.
But yeah, we may do a long arc again, but I don't really see it happening. As a matter of fact, after our next arc, I'm fairly certain we're just going to kind of pick films that we want to cover, like no real link between them, just for a little while. Because as Shane always says, the podcast is a great opportunity for us to watch films that we've never seen before. And personally, unless it's a film that I'm obsessed with, I personally prefer talking about a film I haven't seen before.
I agree.
What about you?
Yeah, no, I agree with that. Like, I do love rewatching films and introducing people to films that I've seen and that I've really loved. And it's like, oh, if I can get Harry or someone else, other people who have seen the video, to check it out. Maybe they haven't seen it before, because I do love like Billy Wilder, etc., etc. But my weekly Billy Wilder plug. Yeah, but no, I do prefer I just want to watch stuff I haven't seen before. I want to open myself up to new countries, cultures, genres, movements, just film history, as it were. So yeah, that's very much my goal with the podcast. Yeah.
And my absolute last question, excluding what we've already planned in the future, will you give me and I'll answer it as well, will you give me 3 films that you've never seen before that you want to cover at some point on the podcast? But not ones that we have, because we have a bit of a slate, like a loose slate going forward. So
ones that aren't on that slate: High and Low.
Oh, it's so good.
From Kurosawa.
Such a class movie.
Rafifi. I just love a heist film. I absolutely love
Jesus
a heist
Christ.
film. I've been banging on about Rafifi for ages. I want to hold off until I watch it on the podcast. I don't want to watch it before you watch it on the podcast, because I want that to be my first exposure to it.
It's so unbelievably class.
What else? I would love to I was going to go with a film I've already seen there, but no, I'll stick to films I haven't seen. I haven't. Can I go in there? The Magnificent Ambersons from Orson Welles, because that's a film that...
that's a great show.
Obviously, that's a film that was butchered to death by the studio, and it's like a famous, all-time famous kind of disaster when it comes to that kind of thing. It's kind of ended up being a theme of his career, Orson Welles, where the studio would just interfere and hack the thing left and right for whatever reason they had, which, again, wasn't really justified because the guy was a genius. But so yeah, that's one that I think... I know it's not his vision of it, but I'd still like to see what actually ended up kind of being released. So yeah.
Yeah. That's a good shout. I am going to go with... The Lady Vanishes.
Good film.
Because it is by far the biggest Hitchcock film I haven't seen.
Very good film.
I've seen 30 of his films, and I haven't seen Lady Vanishes.
I think I've seen 30 as well, actually.
Yeah, so again, I'm fairly tempted to leave The Lady Vanishes until we cover it on the podcast. But, and as well, this is an incredibly expensive month for me, personally. So, I can justify spending money on certain things, but Blu-rays and 4Ks aren't really one at the minute. But I really want that early Hitchcock box set that has all his obscure 1920s films. Everyone who buys it is like, lads, the films on this aren't particularly good. And it's like, I don't care. I just need to watch all of them.
Yeah.
And it's the easiest way to watch early Hitchcock. So I'll say The Lady Vanishes. I am going to go similar with Ashes and Diamonds. I'm going to go with another one that good old Marty Scorsese does bang on about quite a lot, which is East of Eden. I really want to watch East of Eden.
Yeah.
Apparently, according to Marty, amongst others, that film just looks incredible on 4K. So I'll try and get my hands on the Warner Brothers 4K before we cover it.
They are, sorry to cut across you, they are, but they have just finished filming a remake from Zoe Kazan, obviously the granddaughter, I believe, of Elia Kazan. Mm-hmm. It's going to be a limited series on Netflix, but maybe as and when, I think it's coming out later this year or maybe early next year. That could be something in and around that release. We can maybe cover that as well.
Definitely, because definitely want to watch it. I want to watch it on 4K on as big a telly as I can.
I agree. I want to watch that as well.
And lastly, I'll go all snobby. I'm gonna say The Discreet Charm of the Bourgeoisie, which is one of Louis Buñuel's like most famous, most heralded films. It's a little bit later in his career, so he's a bit more refined, so to speak. That being said, I love Unhinged, Louis Buñuel. And yeah, it's always like I always see it in like top 5, top 10 lists of like best foreign films ever made, best films of the 60s ever made. It's always in those lists. And again, I probably will hold off on it until we figure out a way of covering it on the podcast, because I know it's like a film that like all like classic film fans who love foreign films have all seen, but somehow, some way, I still haven't gotten around to it. So I'll say East of Eden, The Discreet Charm of the Bourgeoisie, The Lady Vanishes. The Lady Vanishes. That'll be my 3. But that has been 1 year of the Golden Hour Film Podcast. Here's to another one. Here's to many more. Go on, Claude Rains.
Yeah.
And Leo G. Carroll. And Hitchcock. Gotta give Hitchcock his flowers. He was the foundation of the podcast. Yes, of course, Edmund Gwenn. God, I love Edmund Gwenn. Do you know, sorry, I have no issue not ending this like straight away, because like we kind of went short with it anyway. Yeah. But so by the time this goes out, this post will already be out, because it's to celebrate the 50th episode, because we do it every 25 episodes. I put up all our stats. Yeah. The most covered actor is a 4-way tie on the podcast. 4-way tie.
Claude Rains has been in a few.
He's been in 4.
Is he one of them?
He is.
Dwight Fry?
No.
No, was she? He was in a few. Edmund Gwenn? No.
No.
Leo G. Carroll?
Yes, of course.
Oh, yeah, I'm just going to go through
is in there.
Hitchcock's Rolodex. Let me see. Hitchcock.
Well, 2 more from Hitchcock films.
Hitchcock films, right.
One of them you might not think. He plays a side character in, I think, all... Oh no, what am I saying? He's very prominent in one of the films. So
what's the guy's name? Oh, fuck. What's the guy's name? I know exactly who. What's his name?
Yeah.
The guy who's like...
He's a friendly old man.
Oh, no, that's not who I was thinking of.
Oh.
Give me his name, Will.
Henry Travers.
Ah, okay, right. Henry Travers.
Yeah.
What's the guy? John Williams, is that his name? Is he the other one? He's been in a few Hitchcock films.
It's a woman.
Oh, okay. Interesting. I was going to say Una O'Connor. No, she's not in a Hitchcock film. No, that's not her.
Oh, God, no.
No. Who was it from?
Ingrid Bergman.
Oh, really? She been in 4 films?
Yep. 4 films.
Notorious. Under Capricorn.
Spellbound.
Oh, Spellbound, yeah.
Under Capricorn. And... let me pull it up. Notorious, Under Capricorn, Spellbound, and... Casablanca.
I completely forgot we covered that.
Say.
I completely forgot we covered
only
that.
Her most famous film.
Oh,
just her most famous film, that's all.
That was the biggest
just
brain
Casablanca.
fart.
What even is Casablanca? Fuck me. Oh, both of us, in fairness.
Oh my God.
Christ.
What did I forget?
Well, I don't think there's a more fitting way to end the podcast than that shit.
Fucking hell.
Happy 1 year, guys.
I was thinking of Hitchcock films. I just completely blanked on
Yeah,
Casablanca.
same. I was thinking Swedish, and even though we've only covered...
Yeah, I was like
Swedish
Seventh
films.
Seal. Was she a background extra in the Seventh Seal or something?
No, she's just in Casablanca, that's
God.
all. Fucking hell. Never listen to us. We don't know anything about film.
We never have claimed to it, fairness. We've never claimed to.
Yeah, no, we're not experts or anything.
No.
Anyway, on that note, thank you very much. I've been Harry Bailey.
Good shame of any, unfortunately.
And that has been 1 year of the Golden Hour Film Podcast. Goodbye.
Thanks, everyone.